All right, let's dive into a story that asks a really profound question. What happens when this massive, unshakable faith collides with just simple human kindness? We're talking about the classic short story by G.L. Fuentes, A Letter to God. You've heard that saying, right? That faith can move mountains? But this story forces us to ask, what exactly should we be putting our faith in? And let me tell you, the answer it gives is surprising and, yeah, a little bit ironic. So let's meet the guy at the heart of all this, a farmer named Lencho. And for him, his entire universe, everything he cares about, begins and ends with his field of corn. His family's life is literally rooted in that soil. The story calls him an ox of a man, and you can just picture it, right? Working from dawn till dusk, tirelessly. And all of that hard work, every single hope that he and his family have, it's all riding on just one thing, a good harvest. So you can imagine his absolute joy when the rain he has been praying for finally starts to fall. He doesn't just see water. No, he sees prosperity. He sees their future. He literally says, these aren't just raindrops, they're new coins falling out of the sky. But that feeling of sure joy, it's about to be crushed. The very same sky that was just offering him coins is about to unleash total destruction. This is where hope turns to despair in the story's first big conflict, man versus nature. That gentle rain just explodes into a raging hailstorm. The corn is flattened, the fields are completely wiped out. The story says not a single leaf was left on the trees. In just a few minutes, everything he's worked for is gone. So there he is, standing in his ruined field, and he and his family are facing this terrifying reality. They're going to starve. As he puts it himself, the hail has left nothing. All their hard work for nothing. But here's the thing. Even in this moment of complete and utter devastation, Lencho has one last hope. A simple, profound, and totally unshakable faith. And this is where he does something truly extraordinary. Yeah, he does something most of us would never even think of. He goes into town, sits down, and just starts writing a letter. He explains his whole desperate situation, and then he addresses the envelope with just 2 words, to God. And you know, his request isn't for some huge miracle. It's actually super practical. He asks for 100 pesos, just enough money to plant his field again and feed his family until the next crop comes in. Then he seals all that simple, profound faith into an envelope and drops it in the mail. So the letter is officially in the postal system. But how does the world actually respond to a piece of mail that's addressed to God? Well, this is where the story shifts from one man's faith to humanity's answer. The postmaster's reaction is just fascinating. At first, he just bursts out laughing. I mean, it's pretty absurd, right? But then the laughter stops. He gets serious, totally struck by the power of this farmer's belief. He says something like, "What faith? I wish I had the faith of the man who wrote this." And he decides right then and there that he cannot let this man's faith be broken. So he comes up with a plan. He's going to answer the letter himself. He starts a collection, even gives a part of his own salary, and asks his employees and friends to pitch in for what he calls an act of charity. And this amazing act of kindness sets the stage for the story's powerful, unforgettable, and deeply ironic twist. A prayer is about to be answered, but the response isn't going to be gratitude. Not at all. So despite trying his best, the postmaster can't raise the full 100 pesos. He only manages to collect 70. He puts the money in an envelope for Lencho, and, to keep the illusion going, he signs the letter with a single powerful word, God. So when Lencho gets the envelope, he doesn't show even the slightest bit of surprise. Of course God answered him. But that certainty quickly turns into pure anger. He counts the money, and there's only 70 pesos. His conclusion is immediate. God doesn't make mistakes, so the post office employees must have stolen the other 30. And that right there is the brilliant central irony of this whole story. The very people who acted out of pure kindness and generosity to help him are the ones he calls a bunch of crooks. His faith in God is so unwavering, so absolute, it actually makes him completely blind to the goodness of the human beings right in front of him. And so we come full circle, right back to that first question. The story doesn't really give us an easy answer, but it leaves us with a really challenging thought. Lencho's faith was strong enough to inspire an incredible act of kindness,
but it also blinded him to that very same kindness. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Where is that line between a powerful faith and a dangerous blindness?